Hello. Oh. I was going to introduce them, but they did my work for me.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
They told us, they were like, get out there.
Well, I would say it's safe to say you do not need any introduction, but this is Reese Witherspoon and Nicole Kidman.
Hi, everybody.
So I'm curious, how many of you had seen, first of all, the series at large, but also season 2 and the finale? Wow, look at that. Hi, how are you? So this was a second viewing for most of you, and did it play differently? Did it feel different the second time? Or just sort of you wanted to see it again because it was so great? Big screen, yes. Changes the experience. Well, thank you all for being here. The two of you, I can't imagine how busy you are. You've had a few new projects come out in the last few weeks. Reese, are you holding up?
Yeah.
You're good. You look rested. And Nicole, amazing work on Bombshell. So impressive. Congratulations. And the morning show, of course, goes without saying, wonderful. Yes, congratulations. So, I know we see lots of friends when we're up here. I would love to know what you remember about the very first time you met each other. And I have a feeling it wasn't on this project.
I bet you don't know when I met you.
Somewhere else.
This is going to be one of those horrible stories that you're like, no, it's not bad. It's good.
Oh, good.
Okay, so you had just won the Oscar for Moulin Rouge.
Stop. That's when you met me?
But she didn't win the Oscar for Moulin Rouge.
Hold on. No, hold on. You were nominated. No, it was Moulin Rouge.
I didn't win the Oscar for Moulin Rouge.
She won for the hours.
I meant for the hours.
Okay.
Yes.
But it was for the hours. It was for the hours. And you were backstage at the Oscars, and I was there, and I was like, oh my God, that's Nicole Kidman. Oh my God, she's my biggest idol. Oh my God, I have to ask her questions. And I did. I think I cornered you, and I was like, I have so many questions for you. I'm so excited to meet you. And you were so nice and lovely.
That's nice.
And what questions did you ask?
Won, so I'm
I
sure
think I was shaking and in shock, wasn't
you were
I?
in shock, and I bombarded you.
What question did you ask, Reese? What did you
and I
want
was
to
like,
know?
what was it like working on Moulin Rouge? And you were like, I don't know. I just went for the hours. So that's a weird question.
And do you have recollection of this interaction?
Well, I have a recollection because we have a Nashville connection.
Right,
So
of course.
I live in Nashville.
Of course.
You're
Southern now.
Obviously, she's
Honorary
a Nashville,
Southerner.
Nashvilleian.
Yes.
I just remember us being always sort of crossing paths, but actually being in Nashville at a party one night at a singer called Ronnie Dunn's house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably my most vivid memory of us really connecting as friends. And that was such an amazing night because what they do down there after they have an award show, they have a massive party and all the musos go and everyone hangs and people are invited. All of you can come. It's on Wednesday night.
You heard
and
it here.
everyone sort of sings and plays piano and plays, and I remember us singing around the piano, right?
So fun. It was
So
so
fun.
fun. I do think I played the bongos that night.
I was going to say that.
Hopefully not McConaughey style.
Only McConaughey style. Guys.
That's for another
Good
night.
reference.
That image is, I wasn't there, but that image is still in my mind from when it happened. So we didn't think we'd get a season 2 of this incredible show, and then we found out we would. And what was the most difficult but also exciting part for you as actors in revisiting these roles, which probably you had in your mind okay, I've closed the book on this, exhausting, emotionally taxing. So when you found out you'd be stepping back into the shoes of these characters, what scared you but also excited you? Maybe start with you, Reese.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that season 2 lived up to season 1. And there was so much love and appreciation for the first season, and it felt like it opened people's hearts and minds in a way about really important issues like domestic violence and sexual abuse. And it felt like we were kind of really talking about things that were super taboo, and but we were also doing it from a perspective that was very real, very emotionally raw. So we just wanted to honor that by making sure season 2 was just as real and emotional and delivered as well as season 1.
And obviously both of you are producers as well. How did you navigate the artistic piece of being on camera, but also behind the scenes, ensuring that the quality continued? Maybe Nicole, tell me about that process for you.
I mean, I think everyone, the standard of people working on this is so high, and so there's just this constant pursuit of excellence, would be how I put it, where it's always like, how can we make this better? Is this really, are we following this through? I mean, there's just an incredible collaboration with this show. And there's a great friendship, and there's obviously 6 of us now because Meryl Streep is involved. And so between the 6 of us, we just really went, okay, we're going to support each other, help each other, and really try to carry this thing as a group and get it there. But we love doing it because there really isn't, I haven't had a chance to play a role like this ever in my career, and to do 14 hours of storytelling with these storylines is an extraordinary opportunity as an actor.
And also, and I did an event with the cast of Little Women recently, and just talking about the revolution of seeing the screen filled with women, and they're communing with each other, and they aren't on the side, and they aren't sort of ancillary to the plot. They are the heart and soul. And I think that's why the show resonated so deeply, because you saw elements of your own friendships in these people. And tell me a little bit about how the show has made you rethink or want to revisit your own relationships, friendships, family relationships. Tell me a little bit about that, because the sisterhood and motherhood piece of it for me, I rewatched it today, and it's like, wow, that's what this show is about, actually.
I remember when we were shooting season 1, there were several moments where Nicole and Laura and I would look at each other and go, I've never spent this amount of time on screen talking to another woman, saying words, doing scene work, and having complete character journeys that were our relationships. And this was 2017. When did it come out? 17?
I'm so bad with years.
2017. You're thinking, it's 2017, is it the first time that any of us have had this kind of complex character work with another woman? That's ridiculous. Right?
But each of you came up in film, so maybe if you're
Right.
TV, you had more of a chance to work with women on camera.
Maybe, but we
each
were
of you was
very
so focused.
siloed off as film actresses, and to have these opportunities to work scenes and go, Nick, what do you think of this part? And like, what do you think about this part of the scene? And be able to ask Dern or you.
She calls her Dern.
I call her Dern.
By the way.
I call her Dern. I'm like, Dern.
It's very succinct, isn't it?
It's Dern.
Dern.
I'm like, Dern. Well, because my name's Laura, too, so it's confusing. My real name is Laura, but that's a whole other thing.
But you bring up a good point. You know, in other movies you've done, or even other television work, which I know hasn't been a ton, but were you reticent to have that exchange with a male actor? You know, what did you think of that? Should I adjust that?
There just wasn't any point in saying, what do you think about my emotional growth? Or
are you saying they weren't automatically interested?
After my husband beat me really badly, and then I had to go to school the next day. I wouldn't ask somebody what that was. It was like walking through this emotional journey where I actually had people to ask questions of. And I remember even in this season, I think it was like episode 3 or 4, I got to do this scene where I went to a therapist, and then I got to talk to you right afterwards, as you would do with your girlfriend. You'd be like, I had this really shitty therapy session. She told me to check myself. And then I go to my friend, and I'm like, what do you think? And she's like, well, I think you need to check yourself. And that's real. But I learned so much from you guys. And
I love that there's scenes in season 2 of us just sitting in a car talking.
This last episode, we see that. It's
and
beautiful.
You really allow that's, you know, I mean, is it cinematically extraordinary? No, but are you letting 2 actors, female actresses, sit there and talk, which is what we do. That's just a great...
This is still kind of breaking news to the business, so yeah.
And hopefully it's compelling, you know, because a lot gets revealed or not revealed. And the intertwining of these... what I find extraordinary is that you have all of these storylines that somehow get woven together, and they're all rich. They're all deep. And we really, with the second season, we wanted that for Zoe and for Shailene, and we wanted that to be revealed more and unraveled more, because they're such fine actresses, and to have them have those opportunities was really important.
And it was wonderful to see Zoe in particular have a broader storyline. We saw more about her life and her backstory and the mother storyline, obviously.
And dealing with something really topical, euthanasia, where she's, that's really difficult material to be dealing with on screen, where her mother does not want to live. And how do you deal with that? And that's really relevant, current subject matter, as is the domestic violence, as is, when you look at all of the storylines, as is Laura's husband, who's been living this sort of secret life, really.
That scene with the toys.
And losing everything. But the depth of that is, there is incredible truth in these storylines that are then put together with, hopefully entertainment. But hopefully that's where it hits you here, and then it works underneath. And that's what we've always loved about this show, is that it's working on both levels. But you want it to be entertaining, which we were so thrilled that people were like, we can't wait for the next step. And there was that sort of...
People were pretty obsessed fairly early on. It was a...
so exciting. I've never been in anything like it. So for me, it was
probably a little shocking.
And to have a first when you've had a career that spanned decades.
You started when you were very young. You both were very young when you started. I mean, this is,
That was the other thing we share, is that we started as child actors.
Right.
Reese did, Laura did, I did,
Shailene
did.
To a degree, yeah.
And so sharing stories about that as well. There's a particular, you navigate something because you're entering into an adult world as a child, but with adult rules. So we're very bonded over that as well.
Yeah. And Nicole, tell me what the emotional toll was of playing this character. Were you able to say goodbye to her at the end of each day, go home, be with your family, or did she linger to a degree where you started to feel that it was taxing? And by the way, you're doing such amazing work, I can't imagine how it wouldn't be taxing. But were you able to siphon off, this is work, and then go home and be yourself?
I've always struggled with that with this character. That's probably been it's just, it just gets in, and it's in there, and I just struggle with that. I'd love to say, yep, I've got it down and I'm technically so proficient at sort of, but no, that's not the case with it. And, there's that is carried, but at the same time being able to, doing the courtroom and doing those things where actually explaining why I stay and why I did stay and why I still have this pull towards him and why I'm behaving the way I'm behaving. And then, but what I loved is that the way in which David, because Celeste is coping, she's not completely fallen apart, and she's not doing really well, but she's taking care of her kids. She's loving her kids. She's doing the best she can do, and she's also trying to process an enormous amount. And she's not healed, because to have presented a woman healed, that would have been really false to me. But to be able to explain on the stand like that, that's incredible writing. And then to be given the chance to rise and hit her bottom and not actually fall apart, but go, okay, I'm now going to use what tools I have, being a lawyer and being able to step in there and fight for her children. But you're seeing two mothers who are family members in a courtroom against that backdrop. That's just great writing. David gave us that to play. And that's when you go, wow, how do you twist and turn to get to that scenario?
And creates so much empathy for each of you too, because what Meryl's character has gone through is so tragic, and that's, I think, maybe their commonality, and that's why they have love for each other, is that shared tragedy.
And there's validity to some of the things Mary Louise is saying, but as Celeste says, I'm not letting you raise my boys, but it is actually about you, because you did raise Perry.
Right.
And Perry is what he is, So it's it's very complicated, and that's why it's really good when you can take the text and strip it down, and it's very, very dense, and it's so well structured.
So I do want to talk about Meryl for a minute, because it's an experience that I'm sure feels unlike anything anyone in this room can imagine.
I've just been in a rehearsal room dancing and singing with today, because
No,
we're doing
really?
a show. We're doing another film
Oh, was that
together called The Prom.
Prom? Yeah.
And I was like, this is bizarre.
What is my life?
Like, she is like out there, and I'm like, oh my God, Mary Louise.
You were in Moulin Rouge too, so don't let her take the spotlight. But it was interesting looking back, thinking if you had worked together before, you sort of did in the hours, although you didn't have any scenes together. And this was your first time working with Meryl, is that right, Reese?
No, I'd done a movie with her in 2006 called Rendition.
Oh, of course, yes, Rendition. That's a great movie. So what is it about working with her that you, if you can even possibly articulate this, that feels so utterly unique and perhaps otherworldly as compared to other experiences? Is it just the ease with which she does her job, and then does that rub off on you? Or is there still that panic of like, oh my God, I'm in a scene with Meryl Streep. I'm in a scene with Meryl Streep. Does that go
Probably
away?
more the latter.
The latter, okay.
The panic.
Because you both obviously hold your own very well with her, but I'm just wondering, the wheels kept turning and you just kept, reminding yourself of this.
I mean, I kept reminding myself over and over again, I'm having these scenes with Meryl Streep. This is crazy. I'd have to go and check myself, and then come back and just go, she's just a person. She's just a human being. But I have to say, the finale, watching Nicole and Meryl, was one of the most extraordinary moments of my entire life. And watching these two, I'll never have an experience like that again. Watching these two women who I admire so much, who are the greatest at what they do, spar with each other with words. I mean, it was literally everybody was gobsmacked at the end, and everyone stood up and applauded at the end, because what you don't see behind it is that we were on a budget and on a time, and we had a finite amount of days, and we had to shoot 11 hours a day, and they had to memorize 9 pages of dialogue. And it doesn't hinge on camera moves. It hinges on their performances and modulating these performances. And each look at each other was so important and profound. And I learned so much. I'm 43, and I was like, oh my God, I'm learning so much from these two amazing women.
I was just like, I better come in and I better be. So I prepared, just for me, when I have to learn dialogue, I have to learn it way in advance. I don't have that.
That was actually my next question. How do you learn your lines now, especially this volume of text?
I learn it where I'm working on it, so it's going in through my body. There's a particular way in which you can learn so that it's just coming out organically. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm learning lines. But I do learn it so that it's word perfect, particularly with this, so that because she's relying on my cues. It's very much like theatre in a way. And I knew that they would shoot it like theatre, where we would just shoot the whole thing. So we wouldn't cut. So it was just like, you have to be ready to go. And that's such a joy as an actor, to show up and not be cut and quick and we're going to move, and to just let's go. But at the same time, I mean, let's talk about Laura and Reese doing what they do together, because as much as she's saying Meryl and I, but you watch the high wire act of these two go at it, and it's astounding. I mean, it's drama and comedy, both of them, and you just go, no, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, nobody does it like that in the business. So
I agree.
Yeah. But to talk about Meryl just quickly, because we should, because she's so...
Yeah, we just could go
on. She shows up on time, prepared, in character. She's got a cardigan on, she's got things she did. She's quiet, she stays over in the corner, she steps on the set, she does it. There is no drama, there's no diva antics, there's just an actor doing her work, happy to have the job and going for it. And it's astounding, because if ever anyone could just onto the set.
Yeah.
Flounce onto the set and flounce off.
It's crazy, yeah.
Never.
I know.
She is so delicate in how she does it.
I'll never forget the first day we were shooting, because when I get nervous, I start to ad-lib, which is sort of my magic trick, right? So we all have our magic tricks as actors. You know, everybody has their thing, right? It's either memorization or character or voices or accents. And my magic trick is like, I know how to ad-lib, and I know how to do it well. Well, I got really nervous the first day that I was working with her, and I was like, well, and we were in the real estate office, and I was like, well, where are you going to live, Mary Louise? And I was like, oh, God, I just said something, and it wasn't the thing, and I was just going to say cut. And she was like, well, I'm either going to live on highway. She had memorized the highways. She knew the map of the area. She was like, well, I'll either live on the east end by your Highway 37, or I'll be closer to the beach on Stenson. And I was like, it was fully in character. It was a full ad lib, and she just came at me with like the best ad lib, and I was just flat. I had literally nothing left to give. And I was like, never in my life have I met an actor more prepared than that. To be able to ad lib about an area. I was in, because she had spent 8 days in the area memorizing the roads and looking where Mary Louise would really live, and that would probably be
probably going to look at apartments just to see.
I'm not even kidding. That's bonkers.
And the character wasn't written the way she ended up playing it.
Oh,
That's the other thing.
I was curious about that.
Yeah, it was actually written probably sort of more almost glamorous and a little more, and she showed up with the cross around her neck and the cardigan and the hair, and it was just like, wow.
It's magic, yeah.
Yeah, magic, because the other way it would have worked, but this way it was so believable and also kind of catches you off guard.
Well, it's almost, I think we've seen a lot of those sort of grand dame, you're not good enough for my son, mother-in-law characters. And seeing her that she was a little bit on the marmy side, it actually made Perry seem different, because you think, oh, he kind of grew up probably a regular kid, and he created this elite sense of self later in life. That kind of changed
but I
the
think
way
Mary Louise actually is very wealthy.
Okay.
She's just very pious.
Right.
And she's very
the religious element.
Religious.
Right.
She's very she just isn't flashy. But she's sitting on why she can go and hire the lawyers. You know, she'll go and everything's at her fingertips. So, but she's not flashy, which is a really, really wonderful way to play her.
Yeah.
So
that was a wonderful invention on her part. What is each of you most critical of when you watch yourself?
Everything?
yeah.
Is there one thing? Is it something you do with your face, or a mannerism, or your voice, or something that you...
Everything.
I just always think I could have done it better. Yeah.
Even when everyone has said you killed it, you nailed it, you never can give yourself a moment of congratulation?
No, I can, but at the same time, we're on a journey as actors. We're on a journey trying to go as deep and as truthful as we can, and sometimes, and there's no result. It's not like, oh, I know exactly how I want this to be. It is art, so it's forming, and it's going to form in a particular way. But I can always see all the other ways I could have done it. So that's just part of it's almost like a labyrinth. So, and truly the joy is the process. The joy is the work. And it's so fun doing the work.
It is. I mean,
to say that now,
what
still
a
at
joy
this age.
to be a storyteller, and a privilege. But I mean, what a privilege. I feel enormously lucky to be in this position and to be working with this woman here who's so incredibly supportive. But I also think it's my job as an actor to lose my self-consciousness. So I'm not here to watch my work. Y'all are here to watch my work. That is my job, is to not present self-consciousness to you. I'm supposed to give you everything. I'm supposed to give you my acne, my weird adult acne, my undeveloped comedy, my awkward jokes where they don't land. I'm here to show you. I'm supposed to give you the whole thing, and that's what I give directors. I give you the full range and every option, And I really trust my directors that are going to find that performance within all of it, because I think there's too much self-consciousness on screen, on social media.
I never watch the monitor.
No,
Really?
you can't watch the monitors. It's not for us to
Even
watch.
as producers on this, you didn't watch the monitor? Wow.
Well, you have to. I mean, this is a really when we're producing, there's a certain point where you go, okay, now I'm acting. Because the idea of just producing and just acting, it's to get it there. And then there'll be times when we were like, oh my God, we lost this location. Oh my gosh, we lost this actor. What are we going to do? Or we need this, you know. So but then there's the step onto the set and to be the actor. I can't, and I think it's very important for the director to know that too. Because it's still got to be, we're the actors, you're the director. It still very much is the director is the leader and you're following and they're shaping all of us, and there's a lot of us. So that's just a really important thing when you're I can't imagine, obviously, if you're acting, directing, that's a whole different thing. So something like Bradley Cooper when he's acting and directing, what a way. But, you know, we do get to go delineate and go, okay, now I'm going to completely give over to the performance and the role.
Right. So as far as we know, the story is over, the last scene of them walking into the police station. What do you think happens to these people after that moment?
We can't tell you because we don't know. But we've talked about doing a season 3 because we love being together.
I was just going to see if maybe you would bring it up. Okay. You've talked about it.
But I mean, it starts with Liane Moriarty.
Okay.
There really is.
And she seems game to consider it?
No,
the novelist, of course.
This is the truth of it. She's always had a follow-up novel to Big Little Lies in her head. So she's always had it. It just has a different trajectory. So we can't really say anything more. If it was going to come into fruition, it would come because she would write the novel. Is probably where it would start, right?
Oh, for sure.
So
Bigger, Littler Lies will be the
send
follow-up.
her letters if you want it.
All right, we're going to find out her Twitter handle after this. I would love to know, in the years you've known each other as friends and now as collaborators, what is something that you've learned about each other that you think would surprise people?
Wow. Surprise people?
Or, you know, we have a sense of we think that we know you because you're in our lives, but obviously I don't think we know you the way you know each other.
God, nothing. You know everything about us.
I know. We
both wake up in a pretty good mood.
Yeah.
We
That's
never
wonderful.
ever.
I like that.
We don't come in bad moods. We're not that kind of person.
We're both optimists, which is
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. So who is in the worst mood when you'd go to set in the morning? I'm just kidding. Was it Laura? Was it Meryl?
Wait, she has funny little snacks she eats all day. I make fun of her snacks.
What are your snacks?
She carries this little snack bag with her everywhere.
I do because I get low blood sugar, and so I have to eat 10 meals a day.
She does. She eats like her little...
I'm 6
little
foot
carrots.
tall.
I know. And I was like, what are you eating? What are your little laces? She pours hot cocoa on top of a cappuccino, but only eats the foam.
I like a...
Then she eats like weird old lady mints.
More than the coffee.
She eats weird old lady like hard candies.
Butterscotch candy.
Butterscotch candies. You know the ones your grandma had? Of course. You know, in the candy
That's why
dish?
I like them, because of my
She likes them.
grandma.
She's like, does anybody want a butterscotch candy? I'm like, you're weird old lady snacks. She's like, I have to keep
I
my
knew
blood
you
sugar.
had stuff. I knew it. Had any of you ever heard that
Oh,
about
I'll tell
Nicole?
you, Reese doesn't like anyone eating off her plate.
I don't like anybody eating.
So I always go, because of my kids, I'm always like, oh, can I try that? And my
touch my
kids, I'm like, Reese,
No.
can I try that? She's like,
No. I had a brother who ate all my food, so I'm like, don't eat my food. That is funny.
yeah.
I feel like I know both of you so much better. What is something that you would like to do together in the future now that you know that you love and adore each other?
Ever. I would love to go anywhere with you.
We'd love to go on holiday.
Yeah.
Not work, just have fun with each other.
Just go for a hike.
Yeah. We
nice
we
walks
don't,
and
yeah,
talks.
exactly. And I think also we love, I mean, it's so great when you're working with someone who you can call up and go, what do we do now? And we're in it together. And I always say this, it's like the team that we created on this is so strong. You can just lean into it and you can really rely on it, and we push through.
Oh,
I love that feeling.
I do too. And by the way, I want to shout out our producing team because they were amazing. And
Are they here?
Pear is here. And y'all, they made it so amazing for us to be able to concentrate as actors. They were like, we got this. But I want to say one thing I would love to do with Nicole, because one of the greatest privileges of my career was being able to sit in the hair and makeup chair with her and be like, Nicole, tell me about Stanley Kubrick. And then I'd just get her undivided attention for 30 minutes and she would tell me stories. Then I was like, Nicole, tell me about Gus Van Sant. Nicole, tell me about Baz Luhrmann. Y'all, this woman needs a podcast. Like, I want to interview her. No holds barred. I just want to know, like, the history of your career, Laura Dern's career, Meryl's career. I just want to hear... I've always said this. I want to do a deep dive just as a huge fan, because...
You can start this podcast. You are a very powerful person.
I think we're starting. This is episode 1.
We're recording. This is officially episode 1.
But I just think there is an oral history that's needed of this extraordinary...
Oral history of Nicole Kidman.
Career.
No, not just me.
Yes!
You, everyone. But we were saying...
Will you do episode 1?
No.
She just has incredible stories.
I have some crazy stories, but
We
they're
know.
for the trailer.
One day I'll get her to tell them.
The podcast will be called In the Trailer.
In the trailer. That's kind of fun.
Another thing to look forward to along with season 3. So we have to wrap now, but I do want to say that I'm so honored to be on stage with you, and this show has really just... I was a little worried about season 2, only knowing how wonderful season 1 was, and I thought, oh, it's this beautiful gift. Why try to reopen it? And it's just stunning work, just really important, and I think everyone in this room would agree, just one of the best pieces of art I've seen in a long time.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate
Thank you for coming out, really.
And remember them when you vote for SAG. Remember them. Okay, good night.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.